This perspective shift has helped a lot of my students prepare a very impactful portfolio for their UX job interviews. Listen carefully, and this might be your story as well. You want to apply for a UX job, but you're thinking that your portfolio is not ready. You have done some UX project either as a part of a previous company or as a student project. You have that magical dream portfolio in your mind which you think will get you the results. But what if all this is not true? What if you misunderstood UX design and what the industry expects from you? Because people generally think in two extremes when it comes to what a UX designer should ideally do. They either think that they have to do a lot of research and a lot of UX processes, or they think it's about making visually stunning UI, or for the worst case, they think that it is nothing but a mix of both of these things. And because of these two extremes, you think that your portfolio doesn't match these ideal standards and you're left with a feeling that your portfolio is not ready. In this video, I will talk about the most impactful part of what UX designers do and what makes them valuable to businesses. Interestingly, you might have already done this in your previous project without even realizing the importance of it. And you know that I always try to present anything to you in a completely example backward manner and in a common sense way. I call it the non-textbook approach. #NTA. By the end of this video, you will be able to use this as a way to significantly make changes in your existing UX case studies and also continue working towards genuine and very impactful UX projects going forward. Let's start this with a very familiar example. Let's say you want to book a cab on Uber. What's there in it? You just book a cab and get a ride. Feels simple, right? But between opening the app and getting into the cab, it's not just one action. There is so much happening between these two steps. Let's see what's happening here. You open the Uber app, you look for the search bar, you decide between typing the full address or selecting suggested landmark. You enter the destination, you scan various ride options like Uber Go, Uber Premier, Sedan, Moto. You select the right type. You consider various payment methods like saved cards or cash or UPI. Then you tap on book ride. You wait for the confirmation if the ride request is processing. You check if there are any drivers nearby. You get assigned a driver. You see their name, photo and card details. You view the driver's location on the map and you estimate the distance and time. You decide to go outside and wait for your ride. Oh, the app is taking some time to load. Come on, man. Move. He's here. The cab is fine. Not as bad as what I thought. Should I ask him if AC is there? Maybe it'll be there. Let me get in. Will he understand my language? Should I speak in English? Will he start the ride? Oh, I need to give the OTP. Oh, where is this OTP? Oh, this is the cab number. Oh, this is the OTP. Fine. Let me tell the OTP. Is this the right one? Did it work? Looks like it worked. Awesome. Will the ride start now? Yes, he has started. Great. And this feels like a lot, right? But just imagine, it just takes a few minutes to go through this entire process. And many times the user doesn't even feel like they have done all this. It seems like a lot. If you think of it, each of those elements on the screen, the search bar, those payment options, those confirmation animations aren't just functional elements. They are guiding the user and letting them know all the actions and giving them confirmation about every emotion and thought which they are having. You might be like, all this is cool, but what does any of this have to do with UX design? Let me explain. If you observe, the user had it in their mind that they wanted to book a cab. This is what we call as the user goal. And the user has been performing multiple actions and taking certain decisions and went in a certain path. This path is called as the user's journey. And to allow this journey of the user, the app has provided the path for it, providing all those steps. That is actually called the user flow. Just so that you're not confused between user flow and journey, let me give another example. Consider flow to be like a road on a map. It enables people to go on the road. That means a flow enables the user to have a journey. Throughout this journey, the user has experienced these thoughts, emotions, excitement, a little bit of frustration, all the questions. And you know what this is called? User experience. Does this ring some bell? And this is what we all care about as UX designers. This is the crux of UX design. Now think of this, it gets even more interesting. The app or the product is not telling the users what emotions to have. It's not shouting, be very happy, your cab is here. Oh, feel sad, the cab is taking a long time. No, the user themselves are choosing to have these emotions and thoughts, and the app is just being the platform, allowing them to do all these things. Do you see where I'm going? The product itself is simply a collection of elements that lets users take these actions, but it enables the experience. And this is the main part of what we do as UX designers. Our job is to carefully design these interactions, the ways in which the communication is happening between the product and the user. And the way we do this is by doing a lot of experimentation, a lot of trials on figuring out what actually works. Our job is to carefully craft all these interactions which provide the communication between the product and the user and make sure we take all those decisions to nail these things. What kind of decisions? Yes, all those decisions which let us experiment to figure out what are these interactions which really give a very good experience. And for these experiments, we try a lot of different things. We go and look at existing data, we go and launch a few things, we learn from our mistakes, and we keep going towards the direction of making an experience better and better and better. You need to understand that designing for these interactions is what a UX designer is supposed to do apart from doing research and visual design. In fact, research and visual design are aiding your design of interactions. That is the communication which you are designing between the product and the user. See, research talks about the why. Why does the user like certain kind of a cab? How do they decide which payment option to select? What is the most probable ride option which they would select? Which payment methods are very comfortable? By understanding this kind of data which research provides, you will be able to design a better interaction. For example, in this case, you will be able to provide a better way in which people can decide which ride option to take. That's why you would see an Uber Go or Uber Moto being shown to you upfront than those other options like Uber XL or Uber Lux, which are not even there in front of the screen. See, research is about finding out the reasons why the users are behaving in certain manner. You might want to know what kind of ride options do users select, what payment methods are very comfortable. You might also want to know if people are really understanding whatever has been designed over there. This data, which comes from research, helps you go and design those interactions much better in such a way that this communication between the product and the user is much better. If you look at it, all those colors, all those shapes, the fonts which are used, all of them are in a visually very pleasing and visually stunning manner. But what are they doing? They are helping the user understand the product out there. So by doing great visual design choices, you're only helping the interactions be designed much better. So if you understand it carefully, you will actually do what your core job is. That is designing all these interactions to go and provide an experience for the user. Only if users have a great experience, that is when it is beneficial for the business. Why should it benefit the business? The business is actually paying you, and that's where you become an impactful designer. Now you might be like, hey Anudeep, this is really exciting, I understand. But how do I design these interactions? What do I actually do when I go back and sit out there and put this into action? Let me explain that. Look at this search bar in Uber. When you first saw this, how did you know that it was not just some decorative box? Your brain went and thought, hey, you know what? I need to tap on this. Did the interface have any pointing arrow saying, hey, you know what? This is where you put the destination. You can actually type in it. No. The moment you saw it, you immediately understand how to use it. Why did you want to tap on that particular search bar? Not swipe it, not jiggle it, or not lick the phone screen. Something about the design of the search bar is actually shouting, tap me, without actually mentioning tap me. And when you tapped it, did it just stay like that? No. The moment you tapped it, the whole screen changed. You could start entering whatever you wanted to type. So this change in visual is the proof that the search bar actually worked. You might think, hey, this is simple and obvious stuff. Everyone knows how a search bar works, but this is where it gets mind-blowing. You know what? It is so obvious because a designer made it so obvious. If you see, the search bar has the ability to be acted upon. It's not just a dummy box sitting there. It allows for an action called a tap. In UX terms, we call this the element's affordance, the ability of the element to be interacted with. And if you're wondering, how did the user know about the ability to be tapped, the way in which the text has been placed, all of these things are giving an indication to a user saying that, hey, you know what, this can be tapped, and upon tapping it, you can actually type and search for something. And in UX terms, we call all these visual cues as signifiers. And after tapping on the search bar, all the changes in the screen, your ability to go and enter the address, all that which has happened is giving you the confirmation that this search bar worked the way it has to work. And you know what? In UX terms, this is known as feedback. So if I summarize it, the ability of an element to allow for an interaction to happen is called its affordance. The visual cues, the ways in which the element communicates that this affordance is possible, is called the signifier. And the way in which the element tells you that it indeed worked is actually called as the feedback. So what we need to do as UX designers is design these affordances, signifiers, and feedbacks of everything that is placed on the screens so that the user can interact with the product and have a great experience. And for this to be possible, you should be figuring out what affordances, signifiers, and feedback you should be designing for. For that, you will take the help of research, and for that, you will do better visual design. This doesn't stop here. It becomes even more interesting. We just talked about one search bar, and imagine how much we should do as UX designers to take every small decision about every small thing which are there on these screens so that the user can have an experience. And this example is just about one type of user. There are multiple types of users with different types of goals. Different people would behave in very different manners. Some people book a different type of a cab. Some people use different types of payment methods. Everyone is having different types of journeys. But it's not like Uber has designed multiple different products for different types of users. All the types of users are using the same product which has been designed. And that, my friends, is the beauty of the product's architecture. So as a designer, how is it that you will make all these common assets which provide for different experiences of different types of users, giving them their respective affordances, signifiers, and feedback is what is very important thing of what you do. So now you know what you need to answer when someone asks you what a UX designer does. They just don't do some research or do some great visual design, but they actually design every part of the interactions which you see on these products. Okay, Anudeep, I understood all this. How do I bring all this into my portfolio? That's the beauty. Whatever project you have already done, go look at what is the goal of the user which you are trying to design for. And to accomplish this goal, think about what is the road that you have laid. In other words, what is the flow that you have designed, the screens which you have designed, which the user can take as a path. And think about when the user is taking this path, what is the journey that they are having because of which they are getting an experience. Write down about every thought, feeling, emotion which the user would have had using the flow which you have designed. And you don't stop there. When you zoom into these screens, you look at every element and look at every affordance, signifier, and feedback that you have designed with or without knowing, and connect it to how that relates to the experience you're giving to the users. And all this without talking about whatever research you have done or whatever great visuals you have put. There is so much to already talk about in your project. Designing every small part of the product to go and deliver those experiences. Added to this, if you have some research or if you have done some visual work, you can complement it by saying that, hey, you know what, I've used this research and this visual design to provide a great experience for my users, and this is what my case study is. And that's why I'm telling you, your portfolio might already be ready. All you have to do is go and find out all the opportunities of telling these stories for the work which you have already done. But because of a lot of misconceptions, you're always thinking that whatever work you have done is not enough. You will have to bring in a lot of research, you have to do great visuals, is all clouding the decisions which you have already taken to go and provide that experience. Let me tell you, the industry is looking for this because this is what matters to actually go and build something for users through which businesses can make money. And when businesses make money because of the work you do, you also get paid very well. That's how you become very valuable. So what are you waiting for? Go work on that portfolio which is lying around out there. And if you loved this video, please hit that like button And if you want more of these videos, please subscribe. And did you love the entire example backward approach? Then go and comment #NTA in the comments. Thank you very much.